Hi there, it's Stacy Yesner. I am meeting Wendy Moore from California, from the LA area today for my coffee talk. I'm actually at an inspection, so we're doing things a little differently today. So out today, so hopefully we will be able to have a great chat while we're both on the go. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Stace. You're
How
at
are
an
you?
inspection and then I'm in my car.
I know, right? I know. They're like the inspection just finished, so my
Oh,
client and
that's
the
good.
inspector are going over things. Well, and I just hopped out. So,
How
how
did it
are
go?
you? It's nothing real bad, too bad. Thank goodness. We've been looking for a very long time.
Oh,
So,
good.
yes,
Excellent.
yes,
That's good.
yes, yes.
Well,
So,
I'm in Malibu,
a
actually.
very,
So
very
very,
different
very different from
neighborhood.
where you are, right?
Very different neighborhood. Price point just like a fraction of what you're where you are right now.
That's okay.
Yes. So so tell me, how long have you been with Compass?
I have been with Compass for a little over 3 years. I guess
Okay.
November will mark 4 years. So, uh, 2019, I think I started, and then of course everything shut down. So November I came, and then everything shut down in March. So I didn't have a whole lot of time in the office and to meet people and do stuff. But yeah, it's been fantastic so far, and I hope it continues.
Yeah. And you've gotten very good at your reels. I love your
Thank you.
reels. So you have been an
Thank you. Yeah.
inspiration to me. So
Oh, thanks. Well, you're also really getting very good.
thank
And you're
you.
very consistent. And that, as you know, is what everybody tells us is most important. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. So tell me, so you work in Malibu. What other markets do you
I,
cover
you
in?
know, I don't really work in Malibu. I only had one listing here. Um,
Okay.
I happened to be up here and didn't want to be talking to you while I was driving a car because I picked up my new car, which is what I'm sitting in yesterday, and didn't want to have another accident.
Oh
So, but
gosh.
I happen to be in Malibu, so
O-
that's why I'm here.
Okay.
So
So what areas?
I sell all over Los Angeles. I live in Santa Monica. I'm in the Santa Monica office. So that's by the beach.
Hmm.
Um, but LA going east, I sell in all the different neighborhoods, the Hollywood Hills, and my farm area is in Lake Hollywood, which is a huge, beautiful reservoir, east, sort of over by Universal Studios. Um, but and LA is spread out, but not that spread out, and it's a city of neighborhoods like Chicago.
Right.
Um, and New York is also a city of neighborhoods, and so it's a city like that. So if you get to know the neighborhoods and have people that want to buy or sell, you just go.
Right. Well, I mean, so I have family that lives in Redondo Beach, so I'm
Oh,
familiar with
okay.
Santa Monica. We used to hang out at the pier all the time.
Oh, that's
Uh,
great.
but I know that you can spend a lot more time in your car in LA getting from one neighborhood to another compared to
Yes,
Chicago and New York. You just don't really drive at all.
right. Well, I'm a born and bred New Yorker, so um, cars were not my first choice, but
Right.
that's life.
Right.
And I laugh sometimes that it takes me an hour to go 12 miles, and I used to be a runner, and I would run 12 miles like it was nothing. So
Right.
sometimes I think if I could still run, I should be running instead of sitting in my car.
Right. I know. It's a very different lifestyle. Where in New York did you grow up?
I grew up on the Upper East Side,
Okay.
right across the street from the Guggenheim Museum.
My brother lives on the Upper West Side.
Oh, okay.
so I am familiar with New
Yeah,
York as well as with
yeah,
LA.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and Chicago is very different.
Well, I'm very familiar with Chicago because my son and daughter-in-law lived there for 14 years. My oldest son went to
Oh,
Northwestern. Um,
okay.
and then they lived in a couple of different places and then bought in Lincoln Park
Uh-huh.
and lived there for 14 years until they moved to Sydney, Australia during COVID. So, but I loved visiting Chicago. The restaurants were amazing. The park was amazing. And the different neighborhoods. It's a great city.
Yeah.
It's also has the best tourist thing that I ever did anywhere in the world was to take the boat ride on the river, and it's the architectural tour, and they
Yep.
tell you about all the different buildings. And we did it a number of years ago, but we did it on the day when they open the
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 bridges.
it's open for all the boats to go through.
Hmm.
So
It's so
it
interesting
was
that you said that.
fabulous.
So my cousin, um, my uncle's grandson who lives in Redondo is coming in this weekend, and he really hasn't spent any time in the city. And that's one of the things I was looking to take him on was an architectural boat tour. So it's
Yeah,
really funny that you mentioned
that's
that.
funny. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's fantastic, really fantastic
yeah,
tour. So highly
yeah,
recommend it.
yeah. So that and going to Wrigley, those are my favorite
Oh,
things to
that'll be
do.
fun. Yes.
So unfortunately, there's concerts this weekend and no Cubs games.
Oh,
So, but maybe we'll. I don't remember who's playing this. Bruce Springsteen, I think, is there this weekend.
oh,
So,
okay. That's
yeah.
not too shabby.
No, not at all. Not at all. So, so you were a Pilates instructor
I was.
for how long?
Um, I sold real estate when my kids were younger. We brought our kids up in Short Hills, New Jersey.
Okay.
You and I both know a lot of people from that
Yep.
area these
Yes, we
days, a
do.
lot of Compass agents.
Yep.
And so when they were younger, I had my license and I sold real estate. And then I think when I was 40, I I went back to school. I got a degree in exercise physiology,
Uh-huh.
um, and became a personal trainer, and then morphed into Pilates. So I did that for 20 years.
Wow.
Um, so we moved from New Jersey, and when my kids went to Northwestern and one came to USC out here, we knew nobody was coming back to New Jersey. So we actually built a house in Aspen and moved to Aspen for 13 years. So I continued to teach in Aspen. That's where I taught mostly Pilates. And then I decided that at a certain age, it was time to do something else. So I started a yoga mat company called Aspen Yoga Mats, where we did embroidered yoga mats, and I sold those to studios and high-end spas and hotels really around the world. The Rosewood Hotel chain had all of my mats in all of their hotels with their logo. So those were done in Denver and also in China.
Wow.
And then, then we sort of get tired of the snow, or we did. And we had grandchildren being born here in LA. And so we sold that house and moved to Los Angeles. And that
Wow.
was almost 9 years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
So been
So
here a
then
while.
what so then when did you get back into real estate?
When we moved here, I had just sold Aspen Yoga Mats. Just sold
Okay.
the company and arrived here and thought, well, now what am I going to do? You know.
Right.
And I have my college roommate is with Compass, and we had stayed in touch over the years. And she said, I had lunch with her, and she said, "We'll get your license, and I'll get you into the company that she was with at the time, which then became Douglas Elliman." So I was with Douglas Elliman for a couple of years, and then moved to Compass.
Wow.
So I guess I'm 6 years or 7 years into real estate at this point here.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
It's so interesting hearing everyone's story.
Yeah, it is.
You know, a lot of people, you've moved several places, so you have connections all over. I grew up in the suburbs and have lived in Chicago, so I'm very rooted here, and I get very
Right.
jealous about people who, move all over,
Yeah,
and have those different experiences.
but I think looking back at my younger real estate career, it was a lot easier when you had kids in school and you were sort of established in a community and you've got, you know, moms and friends and stuff like that. When you move at different times, it's harder to get started again. I mean, I really only knew my college roommate and my son and daughter-in-law when we moved here. So
Right.
I've had to build a business from scratch. And it's been a challenge, you know.
Oh, no, and
So,
I completely agree. I started doing this 8 years ago after working as a social worker and special ed administrator for 20 years. And all of my friends
yeah,
were married in the suburbs, and
yep,
were already settled. So now I have to wait until all of their kids are gone and they're downsizing. So I
right,
get it. I totally
right.
get it. So,
Do you live
so
right in the city?
I actually sold my condo right before COVID hit, and so I didn't do anything. Um, my mom and my uncle both were in the suburbs, so I moved in with my mom, which I'm really glad I did because I
That's
kept
nice.
her safe and I kept my uncle safe. And my uncle has had a ton of medical issues ever since.
Mm,
So and his kids don't live here. So we're the ones who are taking care of him. But my boyfriend lives in the city, so I split my time. And
right.
I don't, he's becoming an empty nester in a week, and then we'll figure out what the plan is.
Okay.
Who knows?
Life,
Just take
life's
each
ups,
day.
life's twists and turns, right?
Exactly. You take each day as it comes.
Yes,
So,
ma'am. Yes,
yeah.
ma'am.
So, all right. Well, they're
Oh,
finishing
look
the
where you are. It's pretty.
inspection. Yeah. So, a nice little
Very cool.
community about an hour outside the city. So,
Very nice.
yes. All right. I don't mean to cut this short, but
No
the
worries.
inspection
You're
is
with
over.
clients. I get it.
So, all right. Well, it was great
We can
talking to
do it
you.
again
Absolutely.
anytime.
All right. Have a
Okay.
great day.
You too,
Bye.
Stace. Bye bye.